try to say a couple words about Johnny and many words about Bethany. These are not notes, by the way. These are things since I did a toast at Jordan and Marty's wedding, and after I did Christopher's ceremony, my kids and many of their friends gave me a list of things not to say. Get that in mind. Johnny. Actually, Bethany, you know that I absolutely love Johnny. And you chose incredibly wisely because for personality, for business acumen, and a number of traits. I should say a number of, let's just say traits. That Johnny's pretty incredible. In fact, until I heard your brothers play the piano yesterday, I didn't think there was any area that you needed any more practice in. Now, what most people don't know here, though, is that Johnny and I actually came very close to sleeping together before we met. That's got to be somewhere. Jordan had a party. Jordan had a party, and Jordan and Christina had a party at their house. Jordan and Christina had a party at their house. So you know what they didn't know, they couldn't tell me not to say. So anyway, Jordana and Christina, Jordana was in medical school at the time, and they had a party at her house, and Johnny happened to be there. And, you know, it was getting kind of late. Johnny was trying to pick up on Christina at the time. You know, you do that yawn, you know, it's getting kind of late, and if I have to go home, you know, I'm going to have to go soon. With the eyebrow raised to Christina, and Christina goes, well, you can spend the night. And Johnny gets excited, and I didn't look down, but I'm sure there were other parts of the anatomy that became activated as well. You know? And until Christina said, and Jordana's dad is staying over, and you can sleep in his room. Now, Johnny opted not to spend the night, which was kind of sad, but maybe not, because eventually he did hook up with Christina, who after that decided that she didn't like men anymore anyway. And that would have been a shame for Dixon then if that would have happened to me. But anyways, that was the Johnny situation with that. Now Bethany, the truth is, you know, I once made a comment to Johnny that said, you know, Bethany is kind of a high maintenance person, don't you think? And Johnny said, actually that's not really true. She's very independent. And that's true because everything that Bethany wants for herself, the truth is she does it for herself, whatever it might be. And so Bethany, from birth on, now the rest is for Bethany. From birth on, I can say something at the end, so you better be careful. Anyway, Bethany, the truth is with birth on, including birth, you have been incredibly easy to be with. Whoever is with you is just very easy to be with you. 48 minutes from first labor pain to the time you were out, which is what Christopher was referencing, which is a good thing we had the home birth. And the other thing is, you've always been incredibly charming. And my mom actually told me this story once about you being not only charming, but your charm also could take on a manipulative quality to a very calculating if you needed it to be. And my mom told me the story, and of course I can picture it being rather accurate. We were all sitting around, I think Phyllis was there at the time. You were about 6 years old, and you wanted to have some cheesecake at the end of whatever it is that you ate. And Bethany asks Mom, and Mom says, no, I don't think you can, you know, probably not going to be able to eat the whole thing. And what Bethany does from there, she looks around the table, very calculating, and picks out somebody who was clearly obese, that was probably struggling at the time with whether or not they could have that cheesecake, and bats her eyelashes and says something like, Joe, you'll share a piece of cheesecake with me, won't you? And of course, who could resist that? You know, so always very charming and always very friendly. Now, The part, for me, the part that is most endearing about Bethany are two combined traits that seem to be probably polar opposite. And that's that Bethany, she probably, people don't know, she graduated, I think, a 4.7 average in high school. Bethany's incredibly bright, which we know the Lincoln family doesn't have any problem with that, right? All of you are brilliant. But she's incredibly bright, mixed with the fact that she is incredibly blonde. And those two traits they are very endearing, and at times they can be very humorous as well. So, when you were, and Johnny, meeting Johnny, case in point, if you were to ask Bethany, how did you all meet? Bethany would say, well, I was living in Canada at the time for the ski season, and I invited him up there to go snowboarding with me. And that is true. And so one would say, you know what? Bethany was probably the first person who made the move here between the two of them. But that was without calculating the blonde factor. Because most of us would think that, okay, she invited him to go snowboarding, and any guy who got an invite would think, well, I should have, could have, and will go up there and accept the invitation. And of course, Johnny did accept the invitation, only to find that when he happened to have gotten there, Bethany was already kind of hanging out with some green-eyed Aussie who happened to be a lift operator at the time. And that wasn't necessarily the reason why she invited Johnny up there. But nonetheless, Johnny went, had a good time. And when Bethany moves back to the States, Johnny invites Bethany to go out with him a couple times. And one would think that that was dating. But then when I questioned Bethany about it, she said, oh no, Johnny has no romantic interest in me at all. We're just friends. Now, sometime about the third or fourth date, Johnny figured out just how deep Bethany's blonde roots go. And the next time he invited her out for a date, added 4 words to that. Those 4 words are, this will be a date, or this is a date. So that Bethany got the message that that's what they were doing. And sure enough, the rest is history. About the truth is that they both really make each other pretty incredible. And Bethany, I think Krista was saying a little bit differently when you said that Bethany is losing her edge. I didn't actually see that Bethany was losing her edge as much. I think that over the years, Bethany has clearly become much more charming and really gorgeous, much more beautiful. She has definitely lost some of her blonde edge, that's true. She no longer, when I ask her to rewind a DVD, she no longer goes up and says, okay, sure, that'll do that, and go. And when Christopher and Jordana ask her to play cards or a game, you might see Bethany look over her shoulder, because she's gotten wise to them to see, did they place her in front of the mirror, you know, or some sort of reflection so that they can see her cards and things like that. She's become wise to that, so she's definitely lost that edge. Now, and lastly, this is lastly, it's really been great being a parent to Jordana, Christopher, and Bethany, because there's something that I share with each of them that's very different. And the thing that I share with Bethany, although it's really slight, Bethany and I both have a small vulnerability, very small, to vanity. And we have these father-daughter moments, which I won't share with you, that are very, very special. Become a little bit more in that direction than other times. But I will say this, the truth is, Bethany, with no makeup on, you are absolutely gorgeous. Now you are exceptionally stunning, and it's not because of the wedding dress, it's not because of the makeup, it's because of the glow that you and Johnny share with each other that comes inside. And I really hope you know that I'm not, but you are truly a natural beauty, inside and outside. So, with that, I give you the pleasure of dancing with your old man, or the father-daughter dance.